There are few inventions that have had as great and incalculable an impact on our world as the car. It changed the way people live their lives, the way we shape our cities. It influenced business, infrastructure, and pop culture in ways too many to count. America, in particular, has had the ultimate fascination with these machines, and America's affinity for their cars is known the world over.
Well, how do you like it?
You don't mean, Daddy, that it's really mine.
It's all yours, and here are the keys.
Today, Americans alone own 250 million cars. The enthusiasts in this country are everywhere you look, and even those who don't consider themselves gearheads have been influenced by cars in the most popular music, movies, and TV shows, proving how deeply the car has embedded itself in the very fabric of American culture. So buckle up as we take you on a ride to the depths of how car culture here and abroad influenced all of us, because these are the cars that made us. In many of the most beloved Hollywood stories, cars play a crucial role, often eclipsing the characters they're meant to support. They have become generation-defining symbols of cool, immortal icons that live on and are reinvented for whole new generations of fans. The adrenaline-pumping action and adventure centering around cars are a major component of the entertainment industry. Today, we present our top 5 most iconic cars of film and TV history. Number 5, the Batmobile. There have been many Batmobiles that have graced the pages of Detective Comics and the big and small screens since 1940. But when you start talking about the Batmobile as an icon of cool, you have to start with the name George Barris. George Barris, the California car customizer and hot rodder who went on to build some of the most iconic cars of TV and film history, was the father of what many consider to be the first true Batmobile, the infamous '66 Batmobile. It is impossible to overstate Barris's influence on American car culture. In the late summer of 1965, an all-new Batman TV series was gearing up. With merely 3 weeks to build the car, Barris decided to use the Ford Motor Company's abandoned Futura concept car as a basis for what would go on to become one of the most famous cars in the world. The Futura worked perfectly as a Batmobile. It had many Bat features built into the design already, such as long fins and bubble canopies. According to Barris, he further enhanced the theme by converting the nose into an integrated Bat mask, a first for the car. The '66 Batman show became an overnight sensation as Batmania swept the nation, and every week, millions of Americans tuned in to watch the dynamic duo leap into their vehicle cockpit and speed off to wage a crusade against crime in the atomic-powered, fire-breathing Batmobile. A tribute to its popularity, it set a world record on January 19, 2013, when an original '66 Batmobile sold at the Barrett-Jackson auction for $4.2 million. Along with this fan recognition, its influence continues in Batmobile designs even today, and is considered by many to be the Batmobile. And who are we to argue? It is vengeance. It is the night. It is the Batmobile. Number 4, James Bond Aston Martin DB5. It has been said that half the world's population would recognize a James Bond Aston Martin DB5. I don't know if you're counting, but that's almost 4 billion people worldwide. I'm not sure how that exact figure was decided on, but when you think about the almost 6 decades it has served as the main mode of transportation for the world's most recognizable super spy, by the way, that's a terrible thing for a spy to be, it's hard to argue with that assertion. The Aston Martin DB5 has appeared in a total of 8 of the Bond films, beating out even reigning king Roger Moore in his appearances as Bond. Sorry, King. In James Bond's latest outing, No Time to Die, the spy's iconic Aston Martin DB5 emerges from the mangled wreckage of its destruction in 2012's Skyfall to resume its rightful place as Bond's vehicular multi-tool. Seen first in the new film shuffling Bond around Matera, Italy, the DB5's bucolic retirement comes to an abrupt halt with a barrage of machine gun fire from incoming Spectre agents. As all hell breaks loose and the evil gunmen corner their targets, the DB5's bulletproof glass blocks the onslaught, and twin Gatling guns emerge from its headlights. In a deadly pirouette, the DB5 and Bond spray the goons, and poor Matera, back to the Stone Age. Though 2 Silver Birch DB5s were used in the filming of Goldfinger and Thunderball, Sean Connery only drove one, and that was DP21611. The other 2 cars were built for the production company as promotional cars and traveled the world promoting the 2 movies. No Time to Die marks over half a century of partnership between Aston Martin and James Bond. Early in the making of 1964's Goldfinger, the franchise's 3rd installment, production designer Ken Adams passed a silver DB5 on his way to Pinewood Studios and began to consider it for Bond's ride of choice. The Aston Martin DB5 is cool, sleek, alluring, but unknowable, much like Bond himself. Number 3, Ghostbusters Ecto-1. Ghostbusters exploded into movie theaters in 1984 to become a massive phenomenon, mixing comedy with both science fiction and horror, all bundled into a summer blockbuster action movie, going on to gross a total of $295 million in its first run. Ghostbusters was a certified cultural phenomenon that spawned a hit single, a sequel in 1989, and a 7-season Saturday morning cartoon series, not to mention enough toys, games, and merchandise to blow the rooftop off a firehouse. Just as popular and iconic as its legendary stars was the Ghostbusters Ecto-1. In that first scene where the white and red trimmed 1959 Cadillac Miller Meteor Sentinel burst forth from the crimson doors of Firehouse 8 with its distinctive horn blaring and its unforgettable No Ghost logo emblazoned along the side, Ecto-1 left an indelible mark on generations of fans that continues to this day. And if you don't believe me, 37 years later, in November 2021, a true sequel to the first 2 films was released to critical, audience, and box office acclaim. As Afterlife begins, the Ecto-1 has been stashed in an old barn under a tarp for decades, when it's rediscovered by the estranged grandchildren of Egon Spengler. As has already been seen in the trailers and the film itself, the Ecto-1 finds itself being spruced up and put back into action to save the world once again from the forces of darkness. 37 years later, the Ecto-1, just like the Ghostbusters, is as popular and relevant as ever, igniting the passions and imagination of a whole new generation of fans. Number 2, Dom's 1970 Dodge Charger. Dominic Toretto, played by Vin Diesel, drove many iconic cars during his time in the Fast and Furious movies. Dom is a major fan of muscle cars, something that became apparent very early in the franchise. Rather than use typical models for speed during street races, Dom preferred something with a little bit more horsepower. Well, who are we kidding? A lot more horsepower. Most recently, the 9th installment of the Fast Saga featured a handful of new cars, including appearances by some highly recognizable models. Dom definitely gets behind the wheel of some more wild and varied vehicles in the final 2 installments of the Fast and Furious primary series, but when it comes to the most remembered and most beloved, it's hard to argue there is any more iconic vehicle in the whole franchise than Dom's signature car, the jet black 1970 Dodge Charger RT. The car, which he built with his father, appeared in 5 of the franchise films. It was destroyed in Furious 7 when Dom faced off against Deckard Shaw in Los Angeles. Based on the appearance of the 1970 Dodge Charger RT in the hideout in F9, it seems Dom repaired the car after Furious 7. So we're pretty sure we'll see the Charger ride again. For family. Number 1, the DeLorean Time Machine. When this sucker hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
What else can be said about our pick for number 1, except that the DeLorean from the Back to the Future trilogy is the ultimate movie star car. Unlike other films, where their cars are icons of cool or an amazing prop to enhance the story, Doc Brown's DeLorean was the story. Few vehicles can claim the same kind of character growth and development as the leads in the film they share, but the DeLorean, through all three films, carried Marty McFly and Doc Brown across time, from the dusty streets of Hill Valley, California, 1885, to the distant, neon-soaked future of far-off 2015, to a dark, dystopian alternate reality, 1985. In the first draft of the screenplay, the time machine was a laser device that was housed in a room. At the end of the draft, the device was attached to a refrigerator and taken to a nuclear bomb test. Producer Steven Spielberg vetoed the idea, concerned that children might attempt to climb into a real refrigerator. Then, like a bolt of lightning, director Robert Zemeckis suggested, well, why not make the time machine a car? And if it's gonna be a car, why not a car with a little style? The DeLorean was chosen because it offered mobility, a unique design with its stainless steel body panels, and it would appear like an alien UFO to a 1950s family due to its characteristic gull-wing doors, which, by the way, were inspired by the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. The DeLorean was developed under the supervision of Lawrence Paul, who designed it with artist Ron Cobb and illustrator Andrew Probert. They intended for the vehicle to look fixed together from common parts that a mad scientist would put together in his garage. Back to the Future was a critical and commercial success, earning $381.1 million to become the highest-grossing film of 1985 worldwide. Critics praised the story, comedy, and the cast. It received multiple award nominations and won an Academy Award, Saturn Awards, and a Hugo Award. In the years since its release, Back to the Future has only grown in esteem, and is now considered one of the most iconic films of the 1980s, one of the best science fiction films ever made, and one of the greatest films of all time. In 2007, the United States Library of Congress selected the film for preservation in the National Film Registry. The film was followed by two sequels, Back to the Future Part 2 in 1989 and Back to the Future Part 3 in 1990. With its effect on popular culture and a dedicated fan following, Back to the Future has launched a multimedia franchise encompassing animated television series, video games, comic books, board games, clothing, music, books, food, toys, collectibles, and theme park rides. Its enduring popularity has led to numerous books about its production, documentaries, and commercials. And at the heart of it all was an underpowered, limited-run vehicle from a company that didn't even survive to the premiere of the film that featured it so heavily. Yet, for a car that by every measure was considered a failure in the real world, in the world of pop culture immortality, it may just be the most iconic and well-known vehicle in all of cinema history. And we think that's pretty cool, which is why it's our #1 pick in the top 5 most iconic cars of film and TV history. Thanks for watching The Cars That Made Us. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. See you next time, Back in Time.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.